My name is Eric, and I want to talk about the craziness, the insanity that went on in the late 60s and early 70s, and why a lot of people that I know who are still alive today from those days are shocked that they're still alive. All the things that are going on today could have gone on back then with less violence. That is my opinion. Welcome to the craziness that lives inside my head. Now you might say, what are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about, and I talked to a lot of people my age and a little younger, and we talked about what was going on in the 60s and 70s. And things have changed. Life is always a change. Life is a fluctuation of change. And there was a phenomenon that went on in the 50s. I grew up in the 50s, and I had a group of people called beatniks. And then from the beatniks in the late 60s, you had the hippies and you had the flower children. And in the 70s, it was all disco. And it was like, in my opinion, because I was young, I have to admit, I was young, it was all about party, party, party. Just partying. It didn't matter if you were black, didn't matter if you were white, gay, straight, whatever. You went to the discos, you party, you dance, you got high. And some made it and some did not. I guess you could say I'm one of the lucky ones that made it. And there was a lot of protesting, a lot of against the society. But it was different. It was way different. I mean, I didn't see so much hatred back there that I see today. And that could be because I'm older. And that could be because I noticed it, more aware of noticing hatred than I did when I was younger. When I was in my preteens and teens, all I wanted to do is party. All I wanted to do was have fun. And I did talk about some of the ugliness, because being heavy, fat. Yeah, I got bullied. I got ridiculed for being heavy and fat. And yeah, on occasion, like I said before, I think I did a podcast that I didn't see it, where I may have gotten ugliness and racism. But like I said, I didn't see it. I only saw it once or twice. I grew up in New York City. I grew up in the ghetto. When I went to school, the school I went to was integrated. But I noticed certain things that's really interesting. I shouldn't say upset me. They have this new terminology called autism. I'm dealing at work with an autistic client, and then we have some people who have anxiety problem. I don't know if it's the same. And I talk to people about it. I said, well, my first person that I thought was, now, okay, let me back up a little bit. Autistic has changed. I mean, I think when we call retarded, I think today they call autistics. I don't know the difference. And retarded, of course, is a derogatory term, but that's, here we go again. That's what we called them back in the 60s and early 70s. Now you can't say retarded. Now they got a terminology, autistic. Well, anyway, all I have to say is this on the subject. I knew a lot of retarded people back then they weren't really retarded. I'm not had nothing to do with the autistic people today. I'm talking about what I had witnessed back in the 60s and 70s. The people that we considered retarded were retarded. They were retarded because they were snorting glue, smoking reefer, and stayed drunk all the time. So now, as the terminology changed, especially in the 80s, they're called addicts, which we knew they were addicts back then, but they act like retards. I mean, there were some hippies that act like retards. Well, that's reefer they smoke. So when you say, well, so what are you getting at? Well, what I'm getting at is there has been some incidents between the autistic client and the anxiety where they had to be hospitalized. One had an anxiety attack, had to be hospitalized, had to take to the emergency room, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not a doctor, but in my opinion, these people, especially the one with anxiety, he gets anxious when things change. He couldn't take change. He get anxious when he has a set way of doing things, and once you veer off that way of him doing things, he gets anxious. And for me, I keep thinking, well, I kind of understand that. I mean, sometimes I leave the house. Now since I'm older, I do understand it. I leave the house to go to work, and I have a set plan, a set route. And yes, if I go veer from that plan or that route, I get very angry. You could say anxious. Because sometimes, I guess I'm getting slow. I mean, when I was younger, it wouldn't bother me. But now I'm like, so now what I do? I'm supposed to go down this road, but they got it blocked off. So what do? And I get anxious. But then I start laughing at myself. Calm down. See, in the old days, I would say calm down and light a joint, but calm down. Now, I'm not going to say that's what these anxious people should do, but I would admit, in my opinion, instead of taking all this medication, these autistic guys taking on medication, the anxiety person taking medication. I know I have a friend who's bipolar, take medication. My friend who's bipolar went berserk because he's a Democrat. So when Trump was running for president, he became president, he couldn't function. He had to go to his doctor to get his medication revved up, whatever. He couldn't function because in his mind, Trump shouldn't be president. And in his mind, the world was going to end. In his mind. So he needed medication to medicate his mind. I think he didn't need medication. I just think he needed to calm. I told him, turn the TV off, get off of Facebook, and calm down. I said, there's more to life than worried about, But he could. Well, one day, I'm going to be honest with you, he did get his medication revved up. So I don't know if it was the medication. Oh, because he came to me, he goes, I want to thank you for being a good friend. You were right. I did get off the Facebook, and I stopped looking at the news, and I feel better. And I'm like, well, is that it? Or because they revved up your medication? Because sometimes, I mean, it's interesting. Back in the 60s, they used to have these movies. One was called Valley of the Dolls, where people people medicated themselves. You want to stay up all night? You take a pill. You want to lose weight? You take a pill. You want to get high? You take a pill. You want to get better? You take a pill. You can either take a pill from a doctor, or you can take a pill from what they call from the drug dealers. And that was going on back then, but now it seems that it's commonplace. It's medicating ourselves is commonplace. I think people forget how you can stay away from the medication and at least try to deal with life on life terms. I got that from the AA meetings. You deal with life on life terms, and that's difficult, very difficult. I mean, I love the fact that when I left the house to go to the disco, and I love to black out and wake up in the morning and I'd be like, oh, how do I get home? Oh, who cares? Where's the beer? Or where's the wine? Medicating myself, staying medicated. It didn't take, when I got sober, it didn't take it took some time. I'm going to be honest with you, it took a good 20 years when I haven't even thought about a beer, wine, a drug, or anything. Even when I had got my knee replaced and my cancer treatment, they did offer me painkillers. And I tried my best. If the pain, it was like a dull pain, I said, it's fine. I wouldn't take them. It didn't make sense. Because when I was drinking, I didn't want any pain. I didn't want pain at all. I always wanted to feel like I'm high as a kite or on cloud 9. Well, that's my rant, I guess. The society is medicating the kids today. Instead of teaching them to relax, calm down, life is a fluctuation. It's not going to be the way you want to be. Things are not going to happen the way as people say, should be. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to love you. Everybody's not going to hate you. That's life. As my grandmother would say, deal with it. Live life on life terms. Deal with it. I used to get mad with her. You deal with it. Live life on life terms. That is my little rant today. Teaching these kids common sense, which they don't have either, by the way. That's another podcast. Well, I don't know what happened to common sense. It just ran out the door. Common sense and live life on life terms and get off the medication. Now, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I did mention about having autistic clients. Yes, I will admit, I don't know their problems. And yes, it is kind of rough with the autistic clients. But even with autistic clients, do you have to medicate them? For what medication? But I do understand. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have a couple of them. And when I think about what we called them in the old days, it kind of saddened me because they can't help themselves. And yes, I don't like the terminology of retarded. Now, since I'm older, since I'm experienced being with these people and learning from these people at this age, yes, when I think about what went on in the 60s and how we treated them, I do get sad. I just wish there was a better way of trying to teach people to deal with life on life terms. Anyway, that's my rant. And thank you for listening to the craziness that lives inside my head.